American families of deployed soldiers say they have exposed an effort by military authorities to downplay and conceal troop casualties in the Iran war, alleging that official accounts understates losses and that family members were kept in the dark about the true human cost of operations. Relatives of American service members have publicly accused the Pentagon of minimizing casualty figures, arguing that the institution prioritized image control over transparent communication with grieving families and thereby deepened their anguish and distrust. Critics charge that President Trump is attempting to hide the political embarrassment of the failed Operation Epic Fury, suggesting that administration officials are shifting attention and suppressing uncomfortable details to avoid accountability for what opponents describe as a mismanaged mission. Following reports of a missile shortage, insiders say the disclosure of further operational failings represents yet another blow to the U.S. military's credibility, a sequence of setbacks that critics argue undermines claims of sustained readiness and calls into question the resilience of key logistics and munition stocks. Amid an Iran ceasefire, the Trump administration is facing intense criticism over the official data on troop casualties, as relatives and advocacy groups press for greater transparency about the true human cost of recent operations. A CBC report said families of wounded soldiers have publicly contested the military's published records, arguing that official summaries understate the severity and long-term effects of injuries their loved ones sustained in the conflict. Service members themselves have told investigators and reporters that their injuries were far more severe than official records indicate, describing symptoms and impairments that they say were minimized or misclassified in after-action documentation. U.S. War Secretary Hegseth previously stated that almost 90% of the roughly 400 injured personnel suffered only minor wounds, an assertion intended to reassure the public but now called into question by first-hand accounts. However, families say that many wounded service members later developed persistent or debilitating symptoms, including chronic pain, cognitive issues, and psychological trauma, which were not reflected in the initial official classifications, the CBC reported. Press TV, citing the CBC article, outlined details about the mismatch between soldier accounts and military data, highlighting how reporting and official records diverge on the nature and trajectory of many battlefield injuries. The fresh dispute has underscored the tension between public assurances issued by military and political leaders and the private, lived experiences of service members and their families, fueling calls for independent scrutiny. Soldiers and their relatives say that how injuries are labeled directly affects access to medical care, veterans' benefits, and long-term support services, making accurate classification a matter with concrete consequences for recovery and livelihood. The debate over injury classifications raises broader questions about medical assessment standards, the adequacy of veterans' benefit systems, and whether independent medical reviews should be mandated to ensure accountability and fair treatment. This controversy arrives at a difficult moment for the U.S. military, which is already grappling with reported weapons and munitions shortages, adding another layer of operational and reputational strain to an institution under heavy public scrutiny. Amid these developments, critics argue that resolving the mismatch between official casualty data and families' accounts is essential both for restoring trust and for ensuring wounded service members receive the long-term care and recognition they deserve. Trump is set to host major U.S. arms manufacturers at the White House as he pushes for a significant increase in weapons production capacity after recent conflicts. The new outreach comes after heavy use of U.S. munitions during the Iran war and other operations, which have left officials worried about the strain on stockpiles. U.S. defense officials are increasingly concerned about inventories of key precision-guided weapons, warning that current levels may not be sufficient for future crises. The June 24 White House meeting marks Trump's second big defense industry summit of 2026, underscoring how central rearmament has become to his security agenda. A previous round of talks in March brought in executives from Lockheed Martin, RTX, Boeing, and Northrop Grumman to discuss ramping up output and supply chains. Pentagon negotiators are pressing contractors to accelerate weapons production timelines, seeking faster delivery of missiles, interceptors, and other critical systems. This push comes as demand for air defense systems has surged among the U.S. and allied nations, many of which have been sending their own stocks to active war zones. Trump has even suggested that major U.S. automakers could begin producing missiles and other military equipment, invoking a World War II-style industrial shift. General Motors and Ford are reportedly in talks over potential defense contracts, exploring how their factories and engineering capacity could support rearmament. Some civilian manufacturing plants could be converted to military production roles, according to media reports, if the administration decides to fully mobilize industry. Patriot interceptors and Tomahawk cruise missiles are among the systems under discussion, reflecting a focus on high-demand, high-tech munitions. Notably, The Pentagon is now pursuing what officials describe as a wartime-style industrial mobilization strategy to rebuild and expand U.S. arsenals. Recent operations and foreign arms transfers have consumed large numbers of advanced missile systems, drawing down stockpiles faster than they can be replenished. Analysts warn that these depleted inventories could limit future arms deliveries to U.S. allies and reduce Washington's flexibility in responding to new conflicts. The Trump administration has proposed a record $1.5 trillion defense budget for the 2027 fiscal year, a figure that would significantly outpace current spending. According to reports, much of this new funding would be directed toward rearmament and production expansion, including new lines, upgraded facilities, and longer-term contracts. This comes amid reports that Iran may have developed advanced, never-before-used weapon systems that remain outside public view.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that look, you will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest news makers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the U.S. will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry guards.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HT videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.